Hey everybody, it's Jenna. Thank you so much to everyone who has checked out my video on yesterday's massive DC Studios update. Of course, I couldn't wait too long to elaborate on some of it a little bit further. In particular, there was one new series announcement from yesterday that I am still extremely excited to talk about, the Starfire animated series. Starfire will serve as the origin story for the fan favorite title character, who is perhaps best known as part of the Teen Titans. The show follows her adventures after she uses an ancient spaceship that she discovers on her home planet of Tamaran to escape her planet and explore the stars. Along the way, she'll meet space biker Crush, plant-loving Fern, and the magical princess Amethyst of Gemworld. And together, they will uncover the deepest reaches of the DC universe, save space dolphins, surf technicolor nebulas, and boldly soar into the unknown. The show is being executive produced by Josie Campbell of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, My Adventures with Superman, and a number of very, very excellent comics. It is being co-produced by Brienne Druhard, who has worked on projects like the original Teen Titans animated series, Batman the Brave and the Bold, and DC Nation's Amethyst shorts, which we will talk about more in a minute. Campbell has confirmed that, for now, the show is set in its own continuity that's separate from the main DC universe. I think this show has the potential to be so adorable and so fun, especially when looking at Druhard's previous work and her previous sketches of Starfire. I also love the very eclectic mix of comic characters that the show is introducing, who I have to tell you more about. First is Starfire herself, who was created by Marv Wolfman and George Perez, and 1980s DC Comics presents number 26 as part of the new generation of Teen Titans. Perez has said that his initial design for her was, quote, Red Sonja in outer space, while fellow artist Joe Orlando suggested that he add the massive mane of hair. Her hair has been kind of a point of contention over the ensuing decades because some comics and adaptations have essentially whitewashed her and given her straight hair instead, but I am holding out hope that the Starfire show will deliver. Also known as Princess Coriander, Starfire is part of the royal family of her home planet Tamaran. After years of being tortured by warlords attacking her planet and experimented on by alien scions, Cori unlocks the ability to turn UV radiation into bursts of energy, as well as super strength and flight and a bunch of other cool powers. Eventually, Cori escapes to Earth and finds a home with the Teen Titans. She becomes one of the team's defining members, as well as a world-renowned supermodel named Cori Anders. The New 52 canon expanded on her history of being captured and enslaved, and recast her as a sort of cosmic liberator across the galaxy, who takes on the name Starfire after the ship that she was enslaved on. In this new canon, she also comes to Earth serving as a member of the Outlaws, and eventually getting her own solo series set in Key West, Florida. Across her history, Starfire has been a core member of the Titans while also joining Legion and multiple versions of the Justice League. Despite the darkness of her origin story, Starfire has easily been a beloved part of the DC canon since her debut, thanks in equal part to her very strong and very caring personality and her adaptations in other media. Even then, she's a character who has always been on the precipice of becoming a household name and whose own lore and story have often taken a backseat to her tenure on the Titans and her relationship with other characters. So I am so happy that she's getting the spotlight in this way. Next, we have Crush, who was created by Adam Glass and Robson Roca in 2018's Teen Titans Special number 1. The half-alien teenage daughter of Lobo, Crush has her own sort of twist on a Superman origin story, landing on Earth as an infant during the Burning Man festival and is taken in by foster parents, growing up as Xiomara Rojas. After the death of her foster parents and the discovery that Lobo is her birth father, Crush goes on the run and joins the newer incarnation of the Teen Titans alongside Damian Wayne. She eventually meets her father, and their chaotic relationship is chronicled in 2021's Crush and Lobo miniseries, which was nominated for a GLAAD Media Award for its representation of her adorable and awkward love life as a lesbian. I talked about Crush very briefly in my video about Jason Momoa's Lobo casting because I would really, really love to see her alongside him in the DCU. But in the meantime, I am so glad that she is getting her debut in this show because her personality and her aesthetic is just waiting to resonate with a larger audience. Final Space's Olin Rogers did pitch a Crush and Lobo animated series to DC in 2020, but that never came to fruition, so her finally getting into animation feels especially right. Until we're told otherwise, I'm convinced that Fern is Liana, or Princess Fern, who was created by Wolfman and Perez for 1985's Crisis on Infinite Earths number 4. Fern is born into an alternate universe, dubbed officially as DCU's Earth 6, where America has operated as a monarchy ever since losing the Revolutionary War. When we visit it during the events of Crisis, it is ruled by Fern's superpowered parents, Lord Volt and Lady Quark. Fern has powers of her own, with the ability to make plants grow at an accelerated rate. She debuts and then dies in the exact same issue as a result of Crisis's antimatter wave, and Lady Quark is regarded to be that Earth's only survivor. Fern was then reintroduced decades later in the updated multiverse of Multiversity, where she and her parents now rule Earth 48. She most recently returned in Convergence in a fight against Hal Jordan's Parallax, where she formed a temporary partnership with Kyle Rayner's Green Lantern. I really hope that she ends up being Starfire's Fern, albeit without the multiverse bent, because her gimmick is cool, her relationship with her parents could be very easy plot fodder, and her comic history is sparse enough to have some real fun with. I also feel like this new DC Studios era isn't introducing original characters unless they absolutely positively feel necessary, story, so it would make sense to pull her from the depths of canon instead of creating somebody new. And finally, we have Amethyst, who was created by Dan Mishkin, Gary Cohn, and Ernie Colon in 1983's The Legion of Superheroes number 298. She has a sort of ultimate magical girl story. She lives her life on Earth as ordinary girl Amy Winston, only to discover on her 13th birthday that she is secretly the orphaned princess of the magical realm Gemworld. Armed with a Pegasus and basically every single cool superpower, Amy's adventures around Gemworld were chronicled through multiple solo series, as well as her efforts to protect her new home from the Lords of Chaos, a group that Dr. Fate fans will particularly recognize. Despite her popularity in the 1980s, she was essentially put on hiatus until 2005's Infinite Crisis. Her origin was, of course, rebooted in the New 52, with her now being known as Amaya. She has most recently served as a member of the Young Justice and has been the focus of a miniseries and a graphic novel, as well as a series of excellent DC Nation shorts created by Drew Hard. Amethyst is one of those DC characters who is so much more obscure than she should be, especially in a world full of She-Ra's and Sailor Moons and other magical girl fantasy projects. At this point, I was convinced that the most we were going to get of her in the DCU was the sort of visual similarities between her and Creature Commando's Princess Alana. But as someone who has been a fan of Amethyst for years, I'm so glad that this show will give her the platform that she rightfully deserves. Overall, the cast of this show just feels kind of inspired. They all have really strong relationships with the legacy of their parents and often an entire monarchy, while each being so fundamentally different from each other. Their personalities are also so strong. I just know it's going to be so much fun seeing the four of them interact together. Are you excited for the Starfire animated series? Which character are you most excited to see? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends if you haven't already done so. If you haven't already, please go back and check my DC Studios updates video from earlier this week. Merch is available now at the link in the description. As always, you can find me on social media at Hey It's Jenna Lynn. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, go read some comics.